This is Mason, and you're watching the 315 with Brian Higgins. Now, it's time to find out exactly what's going to happen in today's game. This is No Wrong Answers. Here's Brian.
Who the heck was that guy, Mason? What was that? AI taking over. I don't know about that. I don't think this set looks like that at all. You know, we're out on a limb here. This tournament, Players Era tournament, they are literally making it up as they go. You know, it was announced less than 12 hours ago who, when, why, and how this game would be as Syracuse gets set to take on Iowa State coming up in half an hour from Vegas. Looks like the pregame coverage in front of a darn near completely empty arena has started now on TNT. So, you know, we woke up this morning and like, okay, when's the game? Today? 1 o'clock, Iowa State. Like, none of those things necessarily seem to be options when we all shut our eyes last night. So this tournament, they've been telling us rules and how people are going to play who, and there's going to be this, and point differential that, and whatever the hell this, and the other thing about that. And then they took them all and then ripped them up, and here we go. Syracuse has yet another massive opportunity here as we head into the third day in Vegas, taking on currently 15th ranked Iowa State, and a team that, just by the tiebreakers or whatever this tournament's using to make up their situations as they go, Iowa State was 2-0. Like, they haven't lost. They beat St. John's in an epic game on Monday by 1 point late, and then they handled Creighton pretty solidly yesterday, I believe by 18. They won that game by against Creighton. Yes, 78-60 they beat Creighton yesterday. So wasn't planning to know a lot about Iowa State. Still don't. We'll figure that out coming up in half an hour or so. But welcome in a little No Wrong Answers pregame edition. If you would like to give me your No Wrong Answers, link pinned top chat. You know the deal. Click the button. You can join the show, and we can hear your No Wrong Answers for this game here today. And if you haven't read it now. It'll still pertain, and it may pertain even more so after the game, depending on what happens. Wrote an article for the Juice Online, Syracuse on SI for today, as we do every Wednesday. Bookmark, check out the social media. It's there every Wednesday. And the gist of the article is this. High hopes for Syracuse basketball, hope returning to the program, which I think it has here, or certainly did on Monday, versus a missed opportunity of what Syracuse is able to get done in this trip to Vegas. And after game one against Houston, you know, number 3 team in the country, number 1 a couple weeks ago, defending national runners-up, 3 starters back, toughest defense in America. They're really, really, really good. Now add into the mix Donnie Freeman out. Like, you could not have gone into that game with high expectations for Syracuse. And then the Orange have the lead. And then it's close at halftime. And then the Orange are down in the second half, but then they come back. And Tyler Betsy ties the game up with a 3-pointer late. So I found it just all fascinating how it worked together on Monday. And then, yeah, you lose in overtime. Yes, the free throws were a mess. Yes, there's a lot of things you can nitpick about the game. But when you step back and say, wow, Syracuse just went toe-to-toe with the number 3 team in the country, you come out of it saying, all right, hopes raised for the Syracuse basketball season. Maybe this is a tournament team. Maybe the eye test, we are to believe it at this point. Then yesterday's game against Kansas looked a little sluggish. Now, I would imagine playing Houston has a way of taking more out of your legs than playing most teams. That game is so physical. They lean all over you, and they got just guys on guys on guys to do that all game long. So the Orange looked a little, little bit worn yesterday. Still, though, despite having another mess at the free throw line, especially William Kyle and J.J. Starling, despite having a disaster fest from behind the arc, despite still missing Donnie Freeman, Syracuse, right when it felt like they should be down 15, they're down 5. Right when it felt like they should be down 12, they're down 2. But then the game skidded away late, ended up being an 11-point loss. So it felt like, all right, hopes raised, but opportunity not capitalized on. So we feel better about things, but nothing real has been done to bank something meaningful to show the selection committee in March. You can show some not bad things, which I suppose is okay. Your metrics look good for playing these 2 games, which is important. But when push comes to shove in March on Selection Sunday, you need to take a big win at some point, or 2 or 3, and preferably have a non-conference one or two. That has proven vital, especially for ACC teams that have been lacking them when it's come to Selection Sunday the last few years. You need to take that and plunk it in front of them. And it appeared on this Vegas tournament, the chance to do that had gone by the boards with losing the close game on Monday and missing the opportunity against Kansas yesterday. Then the tournament just goes and makes it up, and Syracuse ends up playing perhaps the toughest team they could have left today, the highest ranked team they could have left today. There's 4 teams that are playing in the championship semi. I don't know. They're just making it up. They're playing in the games where you get more money. Just call it what it is. Syracuse is now playing perhaps in the most interesting of the games where you can't get more money. They're taking on another top 15 team. The Big 12 is going to be really good this year, huh? So now your opportunity. If somehow you can win the game today, and this is a tough ask because Iowa State's really good. Iowa State won easily yesterday. Iowa State hasn't had to play Houston, so perhaps it hasn't taken it out of their legs. If you can win this game, now you've banked a quad 1 win, and Iowa State's good enough. I don't see any way this would not be a quad 1 win by the end of the year. It's a neutral site game. All they'd have to be is top 50 by the end of the year. And then you head home to take on Tennessee. Tennessee, who last night, in the game that followed Syracuse, I don't know if anyone kept their TV on last night. I was, half paying attention and kind of locked in down the stretch while sitting down here wrapping up the work. Really good game, Houston and Tennessee. Back and forth game, one possession kind of game. Tennessee, who will be in the Dome a week from yesterday, beat the Houston team that Syracuse just lost to in overtime. So you are now going Houston, Kansas, Iowa State, Tennessee, 4 games in a row, 4, presumably all of them quad 1 opportunities, and Syracuse really needs to take advantage of, at minimum, one of the next 2, right? Because if you go 0-4 in this stretch, which there's no shame in it, right? Like, you can lose all of these games and still be a decent basketball team because all of the opponents are rock solid to really, really good, to presumably all tournament teams, to presumably all quad 1 opportunities. But if you don't get one of these games, Syracuse could, especially if the ACC nationally figures like they have the last few years, it is going to get close to impossible to make the NCAA tournament. Like, we were doing the math on postgame last night. Let's say Syracuse loses today to Iowa State, which they're 9-point underdogs, 9.5, whatever it is right now. Like, wouldn't be a bad loss. If Syracuse plays close today and loses, it's not a bad loss in a vacuum. If Syracuse loses to Tennessee on Tuesday, you don't want to lose a home game. Syracuse, though, will be underdogs in that game. Say you lose close. Not a bad loss in a vacuum. Now you're 4-4. All right, there's no good reason after this to lose another non-conference game. If you do that, then you got a whole other mess on your hands. All right, say you win the rest of your non-conference games. Say you have a pretty excellent conference season. 12-6, that's pretty good, right? Like, you're 14-4 or better. That's beyond excellent. That's really, really good. Say you're 12-6. Maybe you beat a Duke or Carolina. Maybe you didn't. Say you're 12-6. You add that all together. If all of that happens with a pretty good ACC slate and a few disappointing losses this week, you're 21-10, which in a vacuum, in the olden times, in the land of pre-net, in the land of the last 5 years, like, you'd be pretty surprised if you missed the NCAA tournament. Unfortunately for Syracuse right now, that is essentially the exact resume out of the league, SMU last year, that has been missing the NCAA tournament now for the last few years. Like, that is a resume that's happened time and time again with teams out there that has missed the NCAA tournament. So if you don't win today or if you don't win Tuesday, it could start getting late early around here, and then we talk about meaningful games in March and red and the whole thing. If you do win today, or better yet, somehow win both, now you're feeling really good about life. You've banked 2 quad 1 wins in the non-conference season. You've got 2 golden chips to, appropriately from Vegas, to slap down in front of the tournament committee coming up in March. So we'll see how it goes on. And yeah, Randy, if you don't win the next 2, and you have Duke and Carolina are both road games this year, right? You have Carolina home, and Duke is a road game if memory serves. Like, you're going to have to go into Cameron and win. Like, who knows if Carolina's good, I think, but you never know. They've had some wonky results here the last few years, though they did beat Kansas a couple weeks ago. Like, yeah, you're going to have to go into one of those places and win, or whoever emerges from the morass of the ACC, be it Wake Forest or I don't even know, this year, Louisville, something like that. You're going to have to, SMU again, maybe. You're going to have to find a big win or two, plus have a good volume of wins in the league. You would have left yourself essentially no margin for error in the ACC. So today, much like yesterday, massive opportunity for Syracuse. Today, much like yesterday, if you lose, there's not shame in it. Like, if you lose a close game, like, Syracuse shouldn't be ashamed of losing yesterday. Kansas is good. They're Kansas. It was a good game. Syracuse looked a little dead. I don't know if they'll be fresher today with this 10 a.m. local start time out in Vegas. But Iowa State's good. I can see this being a high-tempo, kind of loosey-goosey game. Iowa State definitely is not afraid to get out and play with a little pace, which I think potentially could help Syracuse. But the other side of the coin is Iowa State's good at that. So that could negate the helping that it's given Syracuse. I don't know. This is a really important game. It's a huge opportunity. But for all as high as the hopes have been raised, if you win today, I think you can go back to Syracuse in time to carve the turkey with still hopes high, because now you got a big win. If you lose today, now you go back to Syracuse having played well, having clearly had your best team in years, clearly your most talented team in years, but you find yourself dead stuck behind the 8 ball, and we're not even in December yet. Like, that Tennessee game on Tuesday would be as close to a must-win game in the first week of December as could possibly exist. Is it a must-win? No, of course not. Nothing's a must-win. You can win the ACC tournament, blah, 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 blah. It would be as close to a must-win as you could have for a game like this. All right, what say you guys? We can do a little no-wrong answers, getting ready for this game. We're about 15 minutes out from tip. We don't usually do no-wrong answers live, but this morning, you wake up, you realize when the game is, you're like, well, I need to be doing no-wrong answers now if I'm going to put it up as we normally do. And, I haven't taken a shower or put on a shirt. So I said, you know what we can do? We can do it live. Where's Bill O'Reilly? We'll do it live. Why not? Could we do this again in the future? We could. Will we? I don't know. We'll just have to see how it makes sense. But a little No Wrong Answers pregame show edition today for Syracuse and Iowa State. Iowa State's 2 games in Vegas. They beat St. John's on Monday. This was a really good back and forth game. What were there? 9 lead changes I'm looking at. Back and forth game, 1-point game. Ends up final score: Iowa State 83, St. John's 82. The Johnnies made a layup with 1 second left to cut it to 2. They missed a 3-pointer as a putback. All right, but that was a legitimate, back and forth tight ball game down the stretch. Iowa State blasted Creighton yesterday. They were up 14.5 and won by 18 in that ball game. That was a game that started after Syracuse. Well, it was about the same time. That game started an hour and a half after Syracuse's game yesterday. So it was at the other arena. It started an hour and a half later yesterday. So both teams are on similar rest. Syracuse has played a tougher game more recently than Iowa State. Iowa State played slightly later yesterday. Neither of the teams probably were awake, at least not everybody, when they found out what they were doing last night. So this is not going to be a film study, crammed it in prep kind of game, because based on how the first 2 days went, like in the lead up in the afternoon, this should not have been a game either of these teams were preparing for. So this feels very much like, roll the balls out and let them go. Roll it out, let them go, and see what happens. What are we seeing today for the Arch? Hopefully there's a little more juice back in the legs, but it is now the third in 3 days. You'd like to see Cayenne find his way a little bit before they leave Vegas. He was just 2 of 12 from the floor yesterday. Was really pressing, really forcing it. 0 of 6 from 3. You'd like to see JJ get it going a little bit on offense. He did have 10 points. He was 3 of 13. William Kyle's been great the whole week here. He was our Wildbirds Unlimited Big Air player of the game yesterday, going 9 points and 9 rebounds. Tyler Betsy was fine yesterday. In a vacuum, 4 of 10 from 3 is, obviously good. It's 40%. The way the game played out yesterday, though, it did feel like a lot of those shots did not necessarily come within the rhythm of the offense. Not that there really was a lot of rhythm in the offense yesterday for Syracuse, which does lead me to this. Who will be today's Wild Birds Unlimited player of the game? Oh, look, we had to go now. It's not dark outside. No birds, though. No birds roosting at the moment. No birds. It is the lunching hour. Birds! Where are you at, birds? We had some nice cardinals yesterday. Nobody at the bird cam right now. We'll check in on that later. Max says we had a bird this morning. What kind of bird? Was it red? Max thinks it was red. We must have had a cardinal this morning. The northern cardinals don't migrate, so we should be able to enjoy the cardinals over the course of the winter. That is the wrong button. This is the right button. All right. So, no wrong answers for the game today. What am I feeling for this game today? It is, man, like I got no sense of Iowa State. We were not expecting, not even necessarily a game today, certainly not a game literally pre-noon Vegas time, the land of no clocks. I guess that's how they could get away with this. So what are we expecting? No wrong answers for the game today. No wrong answers. I think Tyler Betsy continues to have a good tournament. He's gone 5 threes on Monday, 4 threes yesterday. We'll give him 4 more threes today. I think Betsy has 14 points in the ball game today. Hopefully that would allow him to score some way other than a three-pointer. I think we need to see that part of his game do something at some point. Just because he's got some size, he's not Donnie Freeman, but the Orange are lacking some inside the arc non-William Kyle scoring at the moment. That said, I think some of it needs to come from Sadiq White. 20 minutes yesterday, 9 points for Sadiq. I liked in a lot of ways what we saw from Sadiq yesterday. In some of the ways you can tell he's a freshman. He was getting out-muscled by some people. I think we get a good Sadiq game. It'll be, assuming no changes, his 3rd straight game in the starting lineup with Donnie on the bench with the injury that we still have not heard any real legitimate updates on. No idea if he's got a shot to be back for Tennessee on Tuesday. So 9 points, 2 rebounds yesterday for Sadiq. Let's get him to double figures. I'm going 11 points and 5 rebounds for today for Sadiq White. I think we get a good Sadiq White game today, which likewise will help open up William Kyle, who had double-double in the first game, 9 and 9 yesterday. I see no reason why, unless he runs out of juice, but I see no reason why he doesn't have a good game today. Let's go 11 and 10 today. For Kyle, no wrong answers, as I think he will deliver a solid outing today. We're gonna need more from at least one of the Nates. Nate George was I don't want to say he wasn't engaged, but he wasn't effective yesterday. 5 points, 4 assists in 33 minutes. It's not. He wasn't making mistakes. Your starting point guard had no turnovers. That's great. The Orange only had 2 turnovers yesterday, which is unbelievable. Nate George needs to do more today. I don't know if he will. He needs to do more, though. He's passing the ball fine. He's doing fine, but he can break down the defense with the dribble. That gets people moving. That he needs to get inside the arc, get moving downhill to open things up in some way. Be that for himself, be that for others. We need to see that from Nate George today. All right, we'll see if Cayenne can get it going today. I think no wrong answers. That's going to be huge today because without Donnie, the Orange needs someone to deliver, a legitimate scoring punch, a guy that can go on a little spurt. Obviously, JJ can do that sometimes. Donnie, we know, can do that. Cayenne is probably your 3rd best bet to do that right now. And he's just been off his shot here for the last 3 games. The 8 ball was really cloudy when it comes to Cayenne. I got no idea. He's clearly off. Maybe a quick turnaround. Somebody on Twitter told me last night this schedule is very reminiscent of the AAU circuit. He obviously played a ton of AAU ball for Team Mello. I wonder how he got on that team. So hopefully the randomness, the stuff like this plays into his wheelhouse of all right, just get out there and ball. Hopefully that's the case. Iowa State, Does anyone know anything about Iowa State? I know nothing. Absolutely nothing about Iowa State. I know they're good. I know they have been good here recently. Is their head coach still Fred Hoiberg? Is that true? Iowa State head coach. Did he get fired? Matt Campbell. Wrong sport. Basketball. Oh, TJ Otzelberger. Yeah, sure. His profile picture has him wearing a tuxedo on Wikipedia. Look at that. Where did he come from? UNLV before that. South Dakota State before that. Iowa State, 25-10 last year. Sweet 16 2 years ago, 29-8. They're winning games, man. He's winning a ton of games there. This is his 5th year. We're just not on top of the Iowa State coaching situation. This is a really good team. They're 5-0. They're number 15 in the country. This is a really good team here today. I think the tempo of this game is going to be scooting a little bit, which on one hand, I think in favor of Syracuse. We've certainly seen early in the season they prefer to get out and be a little loosey-goosey and run and do all that stuff. On the other hand, if Iowa State's also good at that, is Syracuse going to be second best at doing the thing in the game today, which could prove problematic. We need to see the defense, grinding again like it really has. The defense, I think, has been really, really good here all season for the most part, and certainly the last 2 days in this tournament. Certainly not the reason they lost the game yesterday. I've liked most everybody on defense. JJ, effort. We've seen Cayenne. He made some mistakes yesterday, but effort for the most part. I think Sadiq is a very heady defender. William Kyle's been fantastic on the back line. I like both Nates defensively at the guard and the wing spot. When you look at George and Kings George, whichever. They're gonna have to. This is a. It's 10 in the morning. Right now it is 9:54 in the morning in Las Vegas. They're interviewing the Iowa State coach right now. He looks barely awake at the moment. This is there's going to be nobody at this game. This is a bring your own energy. This is a bring your own guts kind of game. It's possible fans of these teams that have tickets to the whole tournament and are planning on coming to a game today because it's Vegas and who knows what you got up to the night before. Whatever happens stays there. They might miss the beginning of the game just because they did not know it was happening yet. There's going to be nobody in this arena. This is a very much a bring your own energy kind of game. So I think in many ways that will decide the game. We know Syracuse, they want that level 5. I say, why not level 6? Why not level 8? Why not level 10? Why not level 100? Why stop at 5? Crank it up to 11. I don't know. Well, I think it's going to be very interesting to see how much the Orange still have in the tank for 3 games in 3 days, because in many ways, because their first game in Houston was Houston, I think that is sapping on the legs. Absolutely sapping. Yeah, Randy. Yeah, the fan base is going to be something. If they're it's 10 o'clock in Vegas. It's very easy to not be awake yet in Vegas. It is extremely easy to not be awake yet in Vegas because, you're out at the tables last night or you're doing whatever. If you're not checking your phone or wearing a watch or whatever, there are no clocks. You can easily find yourself at holy crap, it's 4 a.m. We've been playing blackjack for 7 hours. You can completely lose track of the world when you're in Vegas. They just both teams are warming up right now on TNT. They just had a wide shot of the arena. Tip time is in less than 10 minutes. There is absolutely nobody in the arena. Absolutely nobody there. So this is very much a bring your own energy kind of game. I'll be interested to see how it's called. This is also who is ever reffing this game. This is their last game here. They're probably trying to get to the airport and, get standby and get out of town. I don't know if we're going to hear very many whistles in the ball game today. I think it'll be very, very fascinating to see how stuff like that plays out. They really need to stop showing wide shots of the arena on TNT. It is empty. It is empty. Did you go to the happiest little chapel on earth or whatever it's called, Randy? Drive-through? You do one of the drive-throughs? Is that only in the movies? Was it Hangover style? Did you realize it the next morning and then had to retrace your steps? Or more likely, did you just do it on purpose? Man, there's nobody there. These wide shots are killing them. Tight shots. No more wide shots. Tell the camera guys, no wide shots. The pregame show said is like leaning over the arena. It's like they got a tighter on Weber. Tighter. Blur out the background. Oh, man. Oh, man. All right, no wrong answers, final score. The show's live. We're working this out live. Iowa State won their game 78-60 against Creighton. They beat St. John's the other night 83-82. Syracuse lost yesterday 71-60. It was overtime with Houston in the first game. That was 78-74. All right, quick check. Last check I saw the point total of this game was in the 150s. Let's see if there was any movement on that. Was it in the 150s? Now it's showing the 140s. So it looks like, hang on, it looks like the number has significantly dropped here, with the idea of it is 10 in the morning. And, the over-under was 152.5 3 hours ago. Right now, it is already plummeted down to 145.5. So the point total in this game has dropped 7 points in the last 3 hours. So that kind of tells you what kind of game people are expecting here for early morning in Vegas. I think this may turn into a kind of a up and down, wide openy kind of thing, a player's game, as they say. I'm going to go, what am I going to do here? I'm going to do 82-75. 82-75. I guess I just picked the over. 82-75. And unfortunately for the Orange, no wrong answers. Final score today, 82-75. Iowa State, third time, not the charm. Third time, so close so far, and it is going to put a ton of pressure on that game against Tennessee Tuesday in the Dome. If Syracuse can win today, and I think it's doable, if Syracuse can win today, man, that is a massive win to have banked in non-conference play. And the kind of win the Orange haven't had in non-conference play now in years. This would be a huge, huge win. Like, in the past, like the last few years when it's even been sort of close, we've really, like 2 years ago, Red's first year, we were trying hard to talk our way into Syracuse maybe being near the bubble, and they were nowhere near the bubble. You win a game like this and you can get to 20 wins? All right, now you got a little package of something. Now you at least got something to slap on the table when it comes to the postseason. I think it's going to be another close but no cigar here today. All right, here's what we're going to do. We're just a few minutes away from tip-off. Thanks for popping in, everybody, for a surprise pregame edition of Live No Wrong Answers. Will we do more of it? We could. We might. Maybe in less of a surprise fashion, so, you all know what's going to happen. What is not a surprise is what I'm going to tell you now. We're going to go our separate ways. We're going to watch the game. And then in around about 2 hours' time, around about 3 o'clock Eastern, noon Vegas Standard Time, we will reconvene here, and we'll do a little post-game show, and that'll take us right into the Thanksgiving holiday. So that is the plan for the rest of the day. Enjoy the game, everybody. Hopefully we will enjoy the game, and we'll be right back here after to break it all down.
Thanks for watching the 315 with Brian Higgins. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on. We'll see you next time.